Hey guys, hanging out with Randy Kirby. Randy, you are on staff at First Baptist Simpsonville, is that right?
I am First
Uh,
Baptist Simpsonville
y-
worship pastor.
You've put in some years.
30 years, just a couple weeks ago.
Man, congrats. That's
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
So, you were talking in your breakout about ministry legacy,
Right,
and I guess just how to have a great legacy after you leave
right,
ministry,
right,
right?
right. Just talked about, well, actually not leaving. They're really having the ministry. So I've celebrated 30 years, but I'm not like retiring or anything
Yeah.
soon that we know of. But just how to maintain and just kind of stay the course
Mm.
and some just ideas. I said it's things I wish people had shared with me when I was younger.
Yeah. Like, what are those things? Because there's a lot of folks, unfortunately, leaving ministry, being burned out, overwhelmed, other reasons. Um, how do you handle longevity? What are some tips for longevity in ministry?
One of the things I said was make sure of your calling, that you feel definitely a solid call, a real call from God, not from a parent or favorite minister, but but without a shadow of a doubt that God has called you to do that. And when that's the case, you can withstand some of those difficult years and seasons.
Mm.
And the other is just having a strong relationship with the Lord, just your personal relationship and with the Lord, and just maintaining that your relationship with Christ, the walk with Christ. And maybe one of the last things, there's several more, but I'll keep it concise. Just be a team player.
Mm.
Don't stay in your corner. Don't just be protective of your corner. Be the leader of your corner, but man, be a team player. My pastor tells me that I'm a team player, so I appreciate that, and I take that very seriously. That I am concerned about the vision of the entire church, of where the pastor's vision, where the church is going, and be supportive of all that.
And it's very good insight from ministry leaders because we can get stuck in our own thing and hide away in our office and
Yeah,
be very mindful about our area.
right.
But to collaborate with other ministries and other ministry leaders, not just in our church, but others, is good. What have you seen as some of the changes over your 30 years that have been good for the church, or maybe some that haven't been so good?
I wouldn't say there's anything that hasn't been good because our church has just exploded in growth. When I came to First Baptist Simpsonville 30 years ago, we had one service. It was a warm, kind of a traditional blended service, but it was definitely a choir and orchestra led kind of a traditional, but with a little bit of blending in. And then pretty soon after that, we started down the road of starting an additional service. Didn't use the word contemporary. We called it less traditional, which is still kind of funny
Okay.
back then. But our pastor, Wayne, just kind of recognized that of just back when he was talking with me a couple years ago about we made another change on Sunday morning, and he kinda asked me the history of that, about how far back that went, and he even was surprised that I said it went back all the way back to really probably about 1995 under the previous pastor's leadership, not the
Mm,
previous pastor, even before that. And so, and he said there've been a lot of changes in worship styles and worship formats
mm.
over the years, and I appreciate the fact that he said, "You've kinda been there through it all," and, he said, "You kinda led us through it all," and I said, "Well, I hope I led us. I hope I was
Yeah.
part of that, didn't feel too dragged, kicking and screaming along the way."
Tell me about some of the technology changes, maybe the visual media
Mhm.
changes that you've seen, maybe installs of screens and
Right.
different components like that. How has that evolved for you guys over the years?
The first thing I thought about was maybe not that, but the fact that we didn't even have cell phones. We didn't even have pagers. So we might make a trip to the hospital, say Greenville Memorial Hospital, almost a 30-minute drive, and come back to the church and realize we got to turn around and go right back because we didn't have a cell phone. Nobody at the church could get in touch with us. And we finally got a pager so we could at least get a page and stop at a payphone and call back to the church office to find out what was the need, or then it was cell phones. But I do remember when we first started a contemporary service, having basically a projector with an overhead type projector with lyrics just kind of on those plastic sheets or whatever,
Yeah.
and literally a portable screen set up at the front of the sanctuary over to one side. That was way before ever even installing screens in the building. And that didn't happen until we got out of that sanctuary and built what is now our current worship center, which was about 2007 or something like that.
Okay.
Is when we finally had screens installed in the walls of the building.
How do you feel about some of those visual enhancements over the years? Do you still harken back to days and go, "Oh, it was better with the hymnals and things," or do you have you welcomed and has your congregation welcomed those visual changes over the years?
Definitely, they've been welcomed. They've been taken in. I mean, we really don't use the hymnals. The hymnals are still in the pews.
Mhm.
And our former minister of senior adults, who passed away a couple years, but was very musical, would occasionally do a hymn sing
Mhm.
and do it in our old historic chapel, which was built in 1913. Beautiful old curved pews, stained glass. So about once a quarter, and then again at Christmas, he would do a hymn sing using the hymnals, which kind of helped our folks see that that's that, and we don't use the hymnals as such.
Mhm.
But even our older folks have kind of welcomed that because they can see the words really well, maybe even see them better than looking at a hymnal. Plus, they're looking up.
What are some things that you got, maybe it's a larger font, or what are some things that you guys have tried that have bridged the gap, between your contemporary and your traditional spaces? Meaning, um, like, would you not do some things visually because it might hinder the worship of the senior adults or vice versa? How have you
There
managed that tension?
there's some differences in lighting, maybe I don't wanna call it stage light, theatrical lighting, the accent lighting,
Mhm.
focus lighting. We do some things in one service, maybe don't do quite the same in the other. There's some differences in how well the choir is lit. The modern we have a vintage service and a modern service. They're all kind of bookend. The vintage service is early in the morning, 8:45. Modern service is at 11:15, excuse me, 11:20. Our, traditional blended service is in the middle of the morning. So there's certainly some challenges having to put things in place, take things, make stage changes, but probably just some lighting differences that are used in some services, but not the other. But we have made a concerted effort, and I'll just say this: I've really encouraged our, let's say, traditional blended musicians to cross those bridges,
Mm.
make a point to get to know the other players in the modern services, just relationship.
Mm.
Like, just don't look at them as being a challenge or those of the enemy. Those
Right.
folks are just as much as we are leading people in worship, trying to
Yeah.
point people to Jesus. So I just encourage our folks, get to know them, be their friends, relate to them, find out about who they are, and be interested
Yeah.
in them.
That goes back to that team player
It
aspect.
does.
So, last question for you. How's the visual media components, the stuff on screen, how's that evolved for your church over the years? You guys now use, I know, because I've done video work for your church
Right.
over the years. Uh, how have you used bumper videos or worship opener videos or things like that sprinkled in? How's that been received over the years?
Very well. People now understand that, for example, when on our traditional blended service, when the choir leaves the loft, that's when the bumper video happens. So the choir is kind of leaving undercover. The folks see that the choir is leaving, but they're watching the bumper video,
Right.
so they're not noticing or not hearing necessarily the choir leaving the
Yeah.
loft. The challenge, however, is when we show a very special video that we want the choir to see, then we have to make sure that we have it in such a time that they still get to see it
Right.
too. They're not just walking out during that time.
Right.
Uh, I don't know as much as far as intelligence about the actual technical aspects of certain equipment things. I know that they're continually using better and the latest equipment as much as possible,
Hmm.
as much as possible financially, because those things are expensive and we have to be good stewards of that. Um, I don't know. Let me think about it. Just
Do your visuals matter when it comes to reaching people with the gospel?
Oh, I know, I think so, and I think the congregation knows that. For example, we've made a concerted effort, like when our choir and orchestra lead us in say, a Christmas night of worship, we'll make a specific effort to show like a worship video that maybe is just a dramatic kind of effect.
Hmm.
I do that for realistic, practical reasons to give the choir a break, to let them sit down. But it's also, we try, like if we have a theme,
Hmm.
let's say the theme, for example, for our Christmas night of worship might be worthy, then I'm going to find a video that really emphasizes that word and shows some scriptures or
Right.
shows some other phrasing that helps that video tie into it's not just a video.
Right.
It's another part of that worship element of that service.
Good. Randy, thank you so much.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
This has been a podcast presentation of Church Visuals. Executive produced by Carl Barnhill. Edited by Mario Franco. Title and show graphics by Angie Lomas. For more resources to help you visually communicate the gospel, visit churchvisuals.com.